you can spend a lot less time wasting your time when it comes to almost every aspect of your life. If you can really boil down what this means to you in your life, you're going to find success.
Originating from deep inside the Rocky Mountains, transported through the power of the internet, and arriving inside your tiny earbuds. It's the Appraiser Coach Podcast.
Minisode.
Welcome back to the program, everybody. Dustin Harris, once again, hanging out in the podcast chair. We're working through what we call the principles of prosperity. We are on to principle number 8. That's right, folks. We're going to be halfway through at this point. Principle number 8 today. I want to pause here and remind you that we are sponsored by a great company providing all kinds of value for appraisers nationwide. Actually, internationally. It's based in Canada, serves all kinds of appraisers in Canada, in the U.S., and I'm sure in other countries. It's Anow. Anow.com is where you go, ANOW.com. Well, folks, today we're going to talk about principle number 8 of the principles of prosperity. And the principle says this: 80% of success comes from 20% of effort. Let me repeat that. 80% of your success is going to come from 20% of your effort. Now, that can also be flipped around and say 20% of your effort will bring 80% of your success. Or you can make it negative as well if you want and say that 80% of our wasted time comes from 20% of what we put in. But the bottom line is this is a principle that I don't think you can hold to a standard of being exact. Meaning, I don't think that exactly 80% and not 81% or 79% of success comes from 19% or 21% of effort. But I think this principle holds fairly true. I think many of you will recognize this principle in your life as being something that works, that is real. This is a principle sometimes referred to as the Pareto. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. Pareto principle comes from an economist. And he taught that 80% of, well, he talked about it in the form of money and in the form of numbers. Specifically, his research had to do with quality control, improvement. And what he found is if we would focus our efforts mathematically in the 80 or the 20% realm, that we would see generally 80% of our success come from that we need to not get overwhelmed with trying to fix the 100% that might be wrong, but focusing in on the 20% that we can affect and we can truly dig into, and that's where 80% of our success is going to come from. Now, here's the interesting thing about this principle. I find this principle to be true in many aspects of our lives, not just in business, but maybe, for example, our health, right? It's been said that your health, your overall health, is absolutely dependent on how much sleep you get, how much exercise you get, how much weight you lift. These things are affected, but most people that really study the body and the way that it works and the way that we stay in fit and in shape rather, say that 80%, now I'm not saying that those other things are not important, but 80% of our success is actually going to come from the 20%, which is what we put into our body. If you think about it in your relation, think of your significant other or somebody that is close to you, and think about all of the ways that you can improve that relationship, and ask yourself, first of all, do you want to take the time to go through that 100% process, or would your efforts be better spent in the 20% that's really going to mean a great deal to that significant other? There's a great book out there years ago written, I don't remember the author off the top of my head, but he wrote about the love languages, right? And how each of us have our quote-unquote love language. And that doesn't mean that we're not affected by other love languages, but there are certain love languages that mean more to certain people than others, right? It might be physical touch, it might be gifts, it might be service, it might be words of affirmation. My wife's is words of affirmation, and she loves to be praised, and she loves to be adored, and she loves to be complimented, right? That's no secret. And I find that if I spend my time trying to work on those other love languages that are not hers, right? That might be the 80% out there. If I focus on the 20% that really means a great deal to her. And by the way, it's interesting because there are 5 love languages, okay? So think of the math there, right? If I focus on the 20% that means the most to her, that's where I'm going to get the most bang for my buck, right? And our relationship is going to be better because I've remembered to stop to compliment, right? These are things that I think, but I sometimes I'm a brute man, right? And I don't take the time to do what I should do. Speaking of taking the time to do what you should do, have you taken the time to do what you should do with regard to your technology, to your management of your business, to that one thing, that 20% that's going to make all the difference to your success, and that's Anow Software, ANOW.com. And by the way, if you use podcast 30, that's all one word, lowercase, I don't know if it matters or not, but just type it in lowercase, no space, podcast 30, 30% off, folks, for your first 3 months. Absolutely incredible deal. Thank you, Anow, Anow.com. All right, folks, welcome back to the program. We're talking about principle number 8 as we move through the principles of prosperity. We're halfway there. Principle number 8 is very simple. It's sometimes referred to as the 80-20 rule, but it is this. 80% of the success comes from 20% of effort. Folks, if you can remember this, you can spend a lot less time wasting your time when it comes to almost every aspect of your life. If you can really boil down what this means to you in your life, you're going to find success. Remember, these are principles of prosperity, meaning if you want success, if you want to move forward, one of the great principles out there is to focus your efforts on the 20% that really matters. Well, Dustin, what does that mean for an appraisal office? Well, let's think about it for just a second, right? There are many, many different aspects and applications for this particular principle. Let's talk about just a few. Let's first talk about your staff. Do you focus on the 20% of work that must get done, that if gets done is the most benefit? Okay, think about that. What is the most important 20% that will cause you to have 80% success? And let's focus our efforts there. What about marketing? What about your efforts? I spoke in my All-Star Team playbook a couple of months ago about some of the 80% out there. You know, postcards, billboards, phone books, right? There's a lot of different ways that you can spend your time and money advertising, marketing, if you will, that may not give you a lot of success. We'll call that the 80% effort, right? If you spend time in that 80%, it'll give you some results, right? You'll see 20% result there. But if you can focus on the 20%, right? The speaking in front of realtors, the reaching out to attorneys, the AMC work, the relationships that you might share with local banks, that effort, focusing in on that 20% is going to make all the difference in the world. So today's principle, 80% of success comes from 20% of your effort. Folks, speaking of the playbook, every month, the playbook is sent to you as a member of the All-Star Team, and you have an opportunity to either read or listen. Yes, we have it in audio version, read by yours truly. Every month, you have an opportunity to drive around, take your comp pictures, and listen to some great principles that will help you to be a more successful business owner. It's the playbook. It's the All-Star Team. You can find it at the memberships tab on theappraisercoach.com.
You've been listening to the Appraiser Coach podcast with Dustin Harris. If you like what you hear, please give us a 5-star rating and post a short review on iTunes. For more in-depth insider information on how you can make more money as a real estate appraiser, visit theappraisercoach.com and sign up for the All-Star Team today. Thanks for joining us. And now, get out there and create some value.